Welcome to Life Insurance Today. I'm your host, Edward Pritchett, and here we go. This guy right here, I'm not going to tell all the stories, but this guy right here, this is the guy, if you've been in insurance and you're like, man, how can I make two, three, $400,000 a year? How can I buy a place in the middle of Boston for me and my fiance? How can maybe I have always had this dream of owning a Ferrari. How could I do that? He's done it, he's doing it, and he's here to tell you how. Stay tuned. All right, so here we go, Mr. Tim Penso. Guys, this is something I think is unique. All right. Tim, you entered into the insurance industry when you were 20 years old.
Yep.
You're now 30 years old.
Yep.
So you've been in the insurance industry for a decade.
It's crazy to think about.
Crazy to think about that. And the things that I know you've done, and I definitely want to get into just like the humble brag, some of the things that you've done because of this industry. But like you've seen this from a couple different angles. Like we talk with a lot of agents that are independent agents mostly, but there are captive agents that want to learn, and you've had experience in the captive world, as I did. You are now in the independent world, and you've been able to see this industry over 10 years during a very formative period of people's lives, their 20s.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who maybe they're 20 right now and they want to get started as quickly as they possibly can? What's one thing that has been a key to your success? And then I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing, I've been following this guy for the last 8 out of those 10 years. So that's one little key. I remember our first conversation. Do you remember one of our first conversations on the phone?
You'll have to refresh me.
It was around some cryptocurrency.
Okay.
You remember that? I was on the dial team. I was calling some leads. I was getting a little frustrated, and I was like, "All right, you know what? Let me check my little Coinbase app." And I mentioned buying some crypto, and Ayers was like, "You should talk to Edward about buying some crypto." To wind up talking to Edward, he told me to make a couple plays. I wanted to making between 20 and 25,000 on Ethereum. Remember that?
Yes, I
remember
remember
that?
that.
You said you liked that
I do remember
technology
that.
better, and that's how I got started. But
back when crypto actually was
it was about Ethereum for $215 then, 2016. I made that trade, and I've been following him ever since. But the question was a key to.
yeah, just one key that like right now, if they go out and they're wanting to get started in this industry, like how can they get started and be successful like you have been over the past decade?
Yeah, and it's funny because I just said I wasn't joking when I said to follow a guy like this, but I remember my first mentor in this business, the guy who hired me, when he would interview people, he would tell them, "Hey, look up where you're at right now. Like the job that you're holding right now, say you work at the mall, say you're a server, say maybe you're an attorney. I know an attorney in Boston that's only making 110 grand a year and they're working 50, 60 hours a week. And it's like whatever your occupation is, look up and see what's the life at the next level." Right, and that's what helped me in the insurance business, because when I looked up at my old mentor, I mean, he was 28 making 831,000 that year. He made driving a S-Class Mercedes, and that's what I saw first. And over time, it's also important to peel back the onion so you see what's behind there. And the more I did, I was like, okay, you can make a lot of money in this industry, but you also want to make a lot of money with good people.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that ideal of, and I think that's a very valuable piece of advice. Like, look up. Like, if you're going somewhere in any kind of career, what are the people ahead of you doing?
Right.
What are your mentors? And I think look up. Like, have a mentor.
Yeah, when you look up, it's not all just about money, but it's like when you look up, how's their relationship with their wife? How's their relationship with their kids? How's their relationship? How do they treat their staff? How are their relationships with their family? It's not just, hey, can I look up and see if they have a Mercedes, but can I look up and can I see that they got the body, they got the car, they got the relationships, they got the time? And it was kind of a little quantitative algorithm for me to see, when I was shopping around for mentors to follow, and when I found Ayers and you and Delaney, you all collectively, at different times, and from now it seems like the majority has it together, but it's interesting to see, how all that plays into the puzzle.
Yeah. And I think as we talk about this, and I want to talk a little bit about just some of the things that you've been able to do because of this industry. But as you find that right mentorship, that's what really unlocks doors because it opens your vision. You said older mentor that you had or a former mentor that you had, $800,000 in income. Have you hit 800,000 yet for yourself?
Not just from the insurance
Not
business.
just from
My
insurance.
best year was in 2019. I did 880. 480 of that was from
Hey, you say 880 like it's just like some three-digit number.
$880,000. Yeah,
$880,000.
that was my best year.
That was in 2020,
That 19.
2019.
Yep, did 480 from the insurance business. That was the year we won the Blue Jacket, and then I did another 400 on that my ground up deal when I knocked down that garage in Boston and built a single family.
Okay, so $440,000 in insurance.
480.
480,000 in
Yeah.
insurance. Hey, be right on the numbers. I'm all about the numbers being
Yeah.
exact. 480 in insurance and 400,000 in real estate.
Yes.
That you were able to invest in because
Of the insurance business.
of insurance.
Yep.
And so, let's talk about that. So it's like we do insurance as a great way to, one, add value to our clients. We get value added to us because we make a great income, but it becomes this, and I've described this kind of like the heartbeat of a business enterprise, right?
Yeah.
Like it can really provide the funding. One of my mentors told me, best ATM machine you're ever going to find, right? And I can use that to kind of move around in the cash flow quadrant. I don't just have to stay in the business owner aspect. I can become an investor. When This is a two-edged question here. When did you start feeling like, you know what, I've been in the insurance industry long enough, I'm making enough income that I can actually start doing something outside of just insurance? Or, how long was insurance the primary thing before you started?
Yeah, so my first piece of business that was coded to me was actually January 5th. So I'm just shy of a decade
Okay.
technically. So
So
January
it'll be a
5th,
decade.
January 5th, 2015.
Okay.
My first property that I purchased was October 26th of 2018. That was a 3.5% down, 18 grand down on a $460,000 property. That one's now, I still own that one, worth 800 a day. And did the same thing again 6 months later. It took 5% down, moved closer to the city. Purchased that, and then the garage was falling down. We knocked that down, and we went up.
So you were in the industry for 3 years before you made your first outside of the insurance.
Yeah, and for the people listening in, I always tell people this: it's if I had a regret, if I had one in my life, it would either be selling the Ferrari or getting into real estate too soon. Because I've watched what you've been able to do, and I just believe that if I had more infrastructure, because when I bought my second property 6 months later, I didn't have any staff then, and that was our record month till we did 330,000 in a 4-week turn in. And I had a record month in revenue in the insurance business too, which was 45K, which I'm about to break because I'm back in the field.
Okay.
But since then, why I feel like it's a regret, if you look at the data, my insurance business peaked when I got into real estate. And I didn't have the staff, but now I have a team. I just told you earlier. As soon as I landed, I get a text from a mom. Their student. We do have student housing. They fell through the porch. They're looking for money, and so you're gonna have But now, I have people that can handle the fire for the most part. Every now and then, you got to come in with the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, you've now been able to put together a team.
Yes.
That allows you to expand on what you're able to do.
Yes.
It's not all just you pushing and working on it. Let's talk about this for just a second. You were in the insurance industry, sold your first policy January 5th, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
3 years later, you're buying large real estate pieces in the Boston area where you live.
Mm-hmm.
You bought a car a few years back.
Yep.
That was in what?
2022. I ordered it in April 6th of 2021. I just know that because I was technically on the last. I just had COVID. I was just coming off of it. Ferrari calls me, and it was the last day that I could be around people, right?
Okay.
So I was clear to go in, right? I still went in masked up and all that, and I went in there and I built a little Ferrari F8 Spider. It was a dream of mine since
Ferrari F8 Spider. So this is 2015. Fast forward to 2021.
Placing the order, comes in May 5th, 2022.
Okay.
13 months later, and then I drove it. I remember when I brought it back to the dealer, they were paying big premium. I mean, we saw what happened with COVID in Italy. So this simple economic supply and demand, the supply was shut down. There was only at the time like 1,100 of those Ferraris in the world, and they were paying 100 grand over. And they told me to bring it in to look at it and see, because they wanted some inventory. And they're like, "How many miles do you have on it?" And I'll never forget the GM. He was so pissed off. Like, he was genuinely pissed off at me. Like, he was like, "You have the highest F8 mileage Ferrari on the market right now." He goes, "People don't drive these cars." I had 3,400 miles on it. And he tried lowballing me too. He's like, "We'll give you 10,000 less than what you paid for it." And interest rates were going up. And at the time, I could say this, but like, I was a little nervous. I didn't know how the market was going to react. And I was like, I want to make a move, and I want to keep building my identity of like the things that I touch, I could turn into quote unquote gold. But I was like, I want that for myself. So I held on to it, and then they emailed me a week later, and he emails me, he goes, "Bring the car back with no more than 3,500 miles on it, and we'll give you 490. I paid 388 for it.
Okay.
So I brought it in there with 3,492.
So how long did you drive? So you put 3,400, call it 3,500 miles on your own Ferrari that you bought with your own money.
Yep.
All right. It's not. I mean, if you get one with mom and daddy's money, good for you. I'm not gonna begrudge you that. That's how my kids probably get theirs. So,
I'm gonna come in and be like, "Hey, well, hold on, yo, let's just talk about this, bro."
I'm kidding. They're not gonna get theirs with me. But like, you were able to do this in this industry. 2015. This is 2021. All right, we're talking about
6 years.
6
Wow, I
years.
never really looked back at it like that.
6 years. That's kind of crazy. That's not just kind of, that's crazy. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying the information that you're getting. I mean, you understand why I bring people like this on this podcast. I wanted to share something with you. I've been in the business for a while, and I am a big fan and an owner of Index Universal Life and Par Whole Life. And I've used it to create a great lifestyle for my family, taking it all the way to being able to live a tax-free life here in Puerto Rico. Now, maybe you or your clients aren't trying to move to Puerto Rico, but you want to understand how these policies work and how they can help you start on living a more tax-advantaged life. Well, instead of going to all the books that are out there that break it down in these long, drawn-out, boring, like we know what those are, I decided I needed a book that would explain to my clients how this can help them in a story format. Check it out, Tax Free Living. It's dropping soon. If it hasn't already, click the link below. Either sign up for the wait list, or hey, you might be able to go right to the link and buy the book for yourself. Find out how it can help you. And if it makes sense to you, I promise you it's going to make sense to your clients. Back to the story. You held on to it for how long? You put 3,500 miles, what period of time? 6 months?
From May, and I sold it in August. Sold it in August. The check cleared in September, and we did a couple deals with that. But
right. But 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. You got to live a dream, and then that dream actually paid you more than what you spent on it, because it was a sound investment at the time. And you were willing to say, you know what, like I enjoyed that, but I have goals. I have a lot more that I want to do.
Yeah.
Why? Other than obviously it was a solid investment return, right? In 6 months, you made over $100,000 just from selling your Ferrari back to the people who you bought it from. But like, what were you thinking? Like, now this is what this is going to allow me to put my focus on. How did that reduce your drive for the insurance industry?
No, that's a good question. So the biggest thing too was like getting rid of it was a hard decision, because my whole identity was tied around it for so long. But I also had a reality check, like, and when you say it, it's like, hey, I ordered that at 26 years old, took inventory of it, say 27, and then I realized the rest of my life didn't catch up to it yet. Like, I always wanted the car, and then I got the car, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't really have the quote-unquote family. I don't have the garage. And I remember and one of the reasons you were kind of in my subconscious when you said something about we were talking about buying. I was like, hey, I remember a couple years before that, I'm like, when you getting your supercar? And we talked about that the i8, which they're making a new one. I don't know if you saw. It looks crazy.
I have seen it.
And you're like, when I get my car, when I get my fleet, and you said fleet, and I was like, oh, he's playing a long, long game. And that was kind of part of it. And then I was like, all right, that's what I could do in 6 years. What could I do if I could just keep feeding and sacrificing? And I was just like, I can get another one. You know, if you could do it once, you could do it again. And so, and actually, matter of fact, got another one on order, waiting for it to get my call, the electric V6. We'll see how it is. But yeah.
Now, I love that about that long-term thinking. And this is like what I also appreciate about the industry that allows us to live some amazing dreams as we build, but then get that opportunity to have that self-reflection,
Mm-hmm.
to have that time where you say, you know what, is this it? Is this all that I'm trying to do, or is there more?
Mm-hmm.
And the greats, from what I've seen, and I love some of the stuff that Ed Milet, like
Oh,
when
yeah.
Ed Milet talks about like, well, here's my house on the island that I own in the middle of this, like this,
Yeah.
like it's not he could have done the Fast and Furious thing early, and he was around and participated in stuff here and there, but he made some of those same decisions. Like, I want to really invest in the long-term growth of my business
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, that's going to be fun for a moment, but is it going to bring the substance? Is it going to
Mm-hmm.
bring the purpose that I want from building my insurance agency?
Yeah.
Um, well, I love the fact. I mean, the real estate, uh, the chance to get to not only once in a lifetime have a amazing machine like
Yeah.
I'm a Ferrari fan as well.
Yeah.
Um, to have that, and then to also have the opportunity to do it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially on a custom build, which people were like, "There's no people thought I was lying until I was,
Till it
like
showed
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah."
Yeah. What excites you about this industry? Like, obviously, it's added a lot of value to you income wise because you've added a lot of value. You've helped a lot of clients out. You've helped a lot of agents grow and build an organization and have that similar access to the resources and the finances that they need.
Hmm.
What excites you about the industry now, a decade in? You're only 30. Okay, so like so like some people who are watching this, you may be like me. You're in your 40s and your 50s. You're like, dang, if I was only 30 and just had that, okay. We don't have it. You do. What are you excited about this industry for your generation? And we might talk about this as well, but I think both you and I, like, you've had as you grew up, you've had different things that you've had to struggle with and pushed through. Just from a familiar, like, I didn't come from money. I don't think you came from money,
I don't
right?
know.
We can say that respectfully to our parents. It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
it's not,
We
we
love
love
you.
them, but like it wasn't just like money. Just, oh, look, here's a $100
Yeah.
bill. Like that
Right.
wasn't happening. Um, but what do you think that this industry, as you look at your second decade in this industry, what can that really be for people that are kind of in your spot, in your generational spot, and then from where your background and where you've come from? What would you say to that guy, that girl who it's just like, I just need an opportunity. I want to be able to have stories like that, like what Tim is talking about. What can this industry do for them, and how can they best take advantage of it?
Yeah, no. So I feel like that's a great question. I also heard you weave in there about just being excited after a decade. We talked about this briefly the other day, going back in the field, taking leads, 6 weeks in. I'm more driven right now, not because of the results that this can do for me. Like that's a little cherry on top, but just a deep care for like using the beta right now with Switchboard and the impact. Like I sent Brad Smith 30 videos yesterday, between 2 days of just bugs to fix. And as frustrated as I was so just grateful and excited that like all the people that this is going to help out.
Mm,
And I was never able to make like $350 to $450 like manually.
mm.
And I'm not using the auto dialer, but the software just to be able to clear my brain and just execute and just stay focused because it's so smooth. And that just excites me. Like that just really fires me up and how people, it turns out they still care about their families. They still care what happens to their family when they pass away. And I love being that guy. Like, I know myself, we're always learning ourselves, but Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs, and one of mine, my top two is significance and uncertainty.
Yeah,
So I like feeling significant. I like uncertainty.
and if you Joe Jordan, life of significance, like that's what we do
Yeah.
in this industry. It is a significant enterprise. It's a significant career because of the value that we bring to our clients when we do it well.
Yeah, and that's just what's been firing me up. And then even beyond that, just the money is just, and I feel like society, they get so weird about talking about money, but it's like you can't really do a lot without money. You can't right now,
At
just
least not when you want to do it.
yeah.
You can do a lot of things, but like
You know what
on
else
someone else's
yeah, you know what
timetable.
else fires me up too about this industry? I remember when I was younger, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I was like 14 years old. And
Okay.
they told my mom, they were like, like the way this is moving, like she's like, my mom was really worked up, like a mom would be with the doc. What does this mean? Is this you would even so there's no cure for this disease? Like she was all worked up in a way, like maybe too much that it could have put something in my head if I allowed it. But they were like, we don't know. He could be in a wheelchair 30, 40 years old. And I remember for a long time that actually pushed me. But because of this industry, and it pushed me to clarify because I was like, I need to build something fast before I can't ever really move. You know what I'm saying? Move my
Mhm.
own two legs or do manual labor or whatever. Because when you're younger, you learn like, hey, if I pick these rocks, I'll get paid maybe $10 for an hour. And I was like, man, I want to always be able to pick rocks from my arthritis hand. And but it drives me that I feel incredible. I'm not in the best shape, but I don't think I'm in poor shape for having RA. I'm able to live this way because of this industry. I mean, I spend about $3,000 a month, and I don't eat out on food, and I don't eat out. That's not
Just
going out to eat.
to live the healthy way that you want to be able to
Organic,
live.
grass-fed foods, organic. Like if I hate, and not to sound like arrogant for the viewers here, it's like if I don't know where it came from and it's not organic, I don't want to put it in my body.
Hmm.
And I've been doing
And
that.
choice. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we've talked about this. The ideal of being able to make the income that you want to make is so that you can have choice.
Hmm.
And that's what I've been able to watch you do the past 8 years, from the real estate purchases, the cars. Uh, Love to get the chance to watch you just hanging out and playing on a yacht in the Mediterranean for a week during the summer. Like those things, to be able to, experience that with friends and business partners. That's what this industry can do, and it all rests on the fulcrum of the value that we add to our clients. That's why, as you mentioned, as much of an income as you're making right now, you're still personally getting out in the field right now.
Hmm.
Um, Testing out new systems, new
Hmm.
leads, helping to design and make it better for your agents and
Hmm.
other agents that are
Hmm.
participating. So I really think that ethos, that mentality that you have, if you're watching, you're wondering like, what are the things that I need to set my mindset on, set my goals on? It's the mindset that you've been laying out during this conversation today.
Right.
So I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing that. Excited to see. I mean, like this first 8 years, like what could the next 8 years hold? It's going to be very excited to see. If they want to reach out to you, if they want to get in touch with you, any websites, you got any
Instagram
channels?
handle, yeah, my Instagram handle is it's just at Tim Tim Penso
I think it's floating right there right now.
Penso.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
hit me,
Instagram.
yep, hit me up right on there.
Okay. Any websites? Anything else that?
No,
No.
I
All
keep
right.
it simple.
All right. Instagram.
IG.
If you can DM, you can get in touch with T. Okay, that didn't come out very well, but you know what
I
I'm
love it.
saying. I again just thank you.
Yeah.
Much gratitude for you sharing, and I hope that as people take a look at what this industry can do, no matter what generation that they're part of, no matter what your background is, like there is so much resource-wise that this industry can provide for you if you dive in and take full advantage. And that's what I've seen you do and what you continue to do. Um, so learn from the best, continue to watch, follow Tim on Instagram, and definitely make sure if there's someone that you're like, you know what, I know someone who needs to hear what Tim was just talking about. They think the insurance industry is blah, 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 blah. Share this with them. Let them take a look. Like, comment, let us know what about what Tim shared is going to allow you to go out and better actualize your insurance progress today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Edward Pritchett, Life Insurance Today. We'll talk to you soon.